kind of get that set up before I can change it up for y'all. We got something. We're going to try it out. I thought we were affiliates with Walmart. I guess we're not. I thought we were, but I'm in the process of trying to make that happen. I thought for sure we were, but it is what it is. I'm not going to worry about it. But once I get the approval for all that, hopefully very soon, I will give you a link for this. You can also probably find something similar at on Amazon. Let me put this up here. But this is this, and this little cute little iron, isn't it? It's a steam fast. The main reason I chose this one over just getting one on Amazon is because it looks like it has a little like a little pad in it to when it's hot to keep it on. And this is just a dish drain pad. You know, I probably need I probably need like a tabletop, whatever, but I don't have it. I did get this 2-year warranty on this. Like I said, I will find a comparable one on the Amazon, and then once I get approval, I will put this one in for the Walmart link. But this was just there. It was $15, which was actually pretty reasonable. The brand through Amazon for another version of kind of like this looks like it's around like $19. So anyway, as soon as I get the approval, I thought for sure we were Mom had affiliate links with him with Walmart, but I don't see it. So as soon as it will, I will put it in the list. But I will put a comparable one in the list. But this is from Seam. Hold on a second. Can I get it done? I'm sore and hot. Been running around all afternoon unexpectedly. This is the brand Steam Fast. I have the other iron in there, but it's bulky, it's heavy, and I really don't need anything like that. And it's, I mean, it is high riches. It's old. And so because of the age it is, what's happening when I try to use the steam is it's just has stuff coming out of it. Now I thought that there was a little basin. I guess there's not. I thought there was a little base that kept it from being hot, but it's not. I didn't realize that. But anyway, that was really cute. And I thought we would try it on a couple things. I mean, it's like I don't need this huge iron. I thought it had a little base. It doesn't. I don't need a huge iron for like ironing these little scrap things. I don't need it. Man, it's so hot outside. We did stop and get McDonald's, and I got a fish sandwich, which helped my head because it still had a headache. Wasn't as bad, but it was still kind of there, enough to be annoying. I like that it has a long cord. That's really nice. I mean, it's got a very nice long cord, which is to some degree a really good thing. Let me get this. I thought we'd give it a try, but it's at Walmart. I thought, well, as soon as I kind of get thing, now where do you put the water in? We're figuring this out together. But maybe down the road I'll get a different kind of one. They have one that a lot of the crocheters, not crocheters, like the avid people that are kind of with the can't think with the quilting world, but it's like $75. I'm like, no, I don't want to spend much right now. I just need a little iron. So if I come across a piece, it's like some of those ones that I actually have at Christina's, they're kind of all wrinkled. And so I thought, well, no. Comes with a little cup with a little spout. So you can put, which I really kind of like. I can put this in my little companion drawer so I know. um, my little thing. So if I need to fill it, I can. And then, oops, well, I had it a little overfilled anyway. You just put that in there. I thought other iron is old, old, first of all, and it's just kind of clunky, and I don't need something that big. So I just needed a little iron. So now we're gonna put it on. I thought I'd test this. And like I said, as soon as we get affiliate links, so it has a temperature reading. I think this is kind of like the steam button once the steam goes in. So we got to give it a minute to heat up. This is just a dish mat. It's what I had right now. And I thought, I'll just get a dish mat and just put it on. So, and then, oh, I found this fabric while that's heating up. Found this fabric in the remnants of at Walmart for $3.50. I forgot how many yardage it was, but it's a pretty significant yardage. I mean, not that much. Plus, it's folded over a couple times. And I thought that kind of looked like grass, doesn't it? So I thought that was cool. And then these were in like the value fabric, and this was $2 or $3 for 2 yards for $3, right? And then I liked this one. I thought I'll grab these two. For $3 for 2 yards of fabric, you couldn't beat it. And I just thought this was really pretty. That looks like kind of grass. We need another version of grass. It's gonna smell because it's never been heated up before. I can smell it. Let's put this here so nothing happens to that. So I'm not going to do all of these, but I thought I'll test it out. So if you're looking for a little iron, yeah, I thought it was a good deal too. I saw that remnants. Look when you go into your stores, look for the remnants. You know, you have like Hobby Lobby has a remnant section. Walmart kind of has one and kind of doesn't have one. So anyway, but this kind of, let's see how it works. I thought this way, if you're looking for a little iron that's not, I mean, you need that chunky iron, see how it works. Not that bad. I mean, it's going to take you a little longer, but the iron, it's not as weighted down as the other one, and I'm not using the correct mat. I need like a, I'll have to get a little tabletop ironing pad, but still, if you needed a little section. See, the problem is that when I try to do the steam and the other iron, it's old, and it makes marks on the fabric. So that's kind of really nice. I mean, you have to work on it a little bit, but still. And two, when you do it for that, but I mean, if you had something like this, I would say give it a quick iron. The rest you'll get out. You know, you'll get it out when you stretch it out. But when you need just a quick, I would just run a little quick iron over it. You know, cord's almost bigger than the iron is. So, and if you don't have a little iron on or iron thing, just use a little dish mat. Put a towel down. So this would work just to kind of get the, because when you put stuff down on the board, you're kind of giving it a stretch. But you do these like right in here. This is going to kind of show up. I mean, I can stretch it a little bit. Let's just look at that. It'll stretch out a little bit, but it'll kind of show up a little bit. So if you needed to, having a little iron like this that you just take and put around your thing, you do a bad job. really doesn't. Just thought I didn't need that huge iron out, and it's old and it works, but it also doesn't steam very well because it's like there's little black things that come out of it now and stains because it's just old and it's had years of stuff. So I probably need to order myself like a little tabletop ironing board, but still, I'm pretty impressed. Hi, Adira. So, I mean, if you needed to just iron a little section, because too, I wouldn't sit and iron all this. I mean, we did there because I was just waiting on stuff. But let's just say, and I still have a bag of fabric from that lady. Let's just say, let's look at this one. Let's just say we had a piece of scrap, right? That we needed to iron before we put it on the project, right? You don't need a huge iron. This is going to do exactly what it needed to do, and it's getting hot, right? Because you're just high firework. You're still just dealing with like these little scraps. So honestly, I would just kind of keep it if you had a place in your workstation to kind of keep it plugged in, or so forth. Like if you came across and you're like, I'm going to use this piece in my scraps. But if you do not take this little piece and, even if I stretch this out, you're not going to get this to lay flat on a board on your project. So just taking this little iron, taking it and I still need to run the lit roll on this one. You know what I mean? Just taking it and getting it, and maybe you'll have to give it a little steam. There's a little place you could keep your little iron, at least when you came across a piece that you needed to kind of get it to flatten out a little bit more. The rest of it'll flatten out when you set it in the project, but those hard lines, you're going to want to have a little iron like this that you can just take your little iron and just run it. And I didn't need that big iron. So anyway, this is just going to be perfect. And then what you could do, because until you needed it, is just turn it off, because it heats up pretty quickly. And then just put it on the side, putting this here. And then, I mean, that cord is like nice and long too. And just putting it someplace. I'm going to unplug it and then just plug it back when I need it. So anyway, as far as I just thought I'm going to get it, it was only $15 at the Walmart. This way, if we needed to iron any pieces out, we'd have a little iron that wasn't weighing a ton and taking up an ironing board space and all that kind of stuff. And I have scissors, but the reason I took this out is because I didn't want to cut my I didn't want to use my fabric scissors on that plastic stuff. And then you take your cup. Yeah. It's nice and compact. I can actually probably put it in my little kit with everything. Or in with the fabric strap ones, I can just put it in there, and then I'm not. That other one was so big. It was nice to have, but it's big, it's heavy, it's old. It's not steaming correctly. It is, but not. And I had a couple ones that just almost like had a rust stain on them because it's just an old. Um, it's been through the ringer, so it's got a little bit old. But then I can just take the cup that goes with it. I cleaned it out so it's not wet, and I can just put it in here, and then that way, cup and everything's in here. This in case I need this out. This out. might need you out. So anyway, this I do have to go work on soap caddies, but I also figured out I was somewhat. We had been out unexpectedly. I was not planning to go out, and I decided to go out. So we were just out and about, and I got undressed for being out. So let's just go ahead and go live and work on this a little bit, and then I'll go and work on when I need to work for the show on Friday. We're not going up. I'm going to see Christina tomorrow, so that opens time and space I didn't know I was going to have. Yeah. But for this kind of thing, you don't need a huge thing. I just need a little compact iron. One thing that I will say about putting water in your iron is go ahead and use bottled water or distilled water. That will prevent it from getting those kind of water buildup and so forth. So try to use that kind of thing. Like I said, it was only $15. And I had said to myself, I'm going to treat myself to that. So I'm trying to wear some kind of red, white, and blue. I'm not in the red, but the blue is there today. All right. So we're going to work on this side so that I want to work around the flag now so that we can get the cording around the flag itself. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is work this cloud right here. And I don't want to use, I want to make that white, but I don't want to use the sparkle because I want to save that for white. Oh, I could have done that too. We'll do that next. I have a stars and stripe. That'll make it too busy. I have a stars, but it'll just be really, really, really busy. We'll make it be really, really like super busy up there. Looking for. I wonder if there's like a really light blue. Do I have a really light blue for like clouds? I don't want to use the white because if I use the white, that's too stark and you're going to see right through it. I use the white for the sparkle. Oh, I wonder if this, well, now that's green. It looked blue to me for a second. It's green. It's absolutely green. I am very glad I'm not colorblind. Not that you couldn't do this project if you were, but I'm kind of very glad that I'm not. I may have other difficulties, but I'm glad I wasn't color. But I didn't. I wonder if Christina has. It's not here. Don't any of this. I thought maybe there was white and something, but there's not. That doesn't work. All right. Iron's perfect for what we need it for. Absolutely. Oh. The hardest part, honest to goodness gracious, of this whole thing is picking out what fabric you want to use. the hardest part of this whole thing. Ooh, I wonder if, well, I don't know if I'll have enough for the other side. It's a really good option, but it's not for the other side. I should have gotten that sparkly fabric. I didn't. I didn't. Oh, I know which ones we need to use. It's right here. Getting skilled. Anybody want anything to fabric? It kind of has that, it's not solid white. I didn't want a solid white. Perfect. This kind of has the cloud without it being like a solid white. That's. I knew I'd find something that was going to work. Yep. This was one of the fabrics that lady gave us. I'm going to work on a thing. Oh, by the way, I'm getting new glasses. So you'll see them. I went into I've had for about the fifth time I've had my lenses fall out of my glasses, and so I went in just like we have to fix this because I love y'all and thing, but I don't mind coming back here. But what I'm afraid of is my lens is going to fall out. I won't realize it right away. And so he said, I think we need to redo these because somehow the one lens is smaller than the size should be. So anyway, and he said, and it's America's Best, the one by our house. I know not every American's Best is, all equal. I know they're run differently. Anyway, so he said to me, he said, you can get the same frame or you can pick out a different frame if you're over this frame. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of am. I really am. So I said, will be any extra charge? He goes, nope, but we'll fix them for free. Oh, that's another thing I need to get. It's like a nice little pair of tweezers. Anyway, so he said, no, it won't cost you anything else. I said, okay, done. And so I found a pair of mauve. They're kind of purplish pink. They're kind of the same color as these. But these are a little heavy on me. And my other glasses, I think I have them here, are like they're like half this size. They go up to like here. They're like more like this. And they just fit. I like them better. And I really have kind of like I'll live with these glasses and keep them as spares. My glasses are up in February and next year. And I'm like, you know what? And he's like, no, we'll just later. We need to get you a new frame. And then he said to me, he goes, okay. He said, because these just were made. The one lens was just made, and even Josh pointed that out. He said the one lens is a little bit too. It was cut too small, and so they keep popping out. And I'm like, he said, you just pick out a new frame if you're over this. I'm like, yep, I'm kind of am. He said, I can imagine you probably have a disdain in your mouth for these frames. I'm like, yeah. So I'm getting a new pair, and I did see ones, they were kind of similar to the other one, almost similar. Yeah, and they were like a dark purple. They were like a really pretty purple, my color purple. But I just thought there and I thought, all you see is my glasses. And I don't mind people knowing that I wear glasses, but I don't want it to be the first thing. I mean, I loved the dark purple, but I kind of like the fact that the mauve kind of blended in with my face. You'll see them. The side of the glasses have like a really nice deep purple to it. I'm more of a lavender kind. I don't like Barney color purple. I'm kind of like, this is my kind of purple. This is more my kind of purple, like that kind of purple. And it was exactly that. And I steered away from them, and I thought, you know what? They're pretty, but these will go so much better with a lot of your outfits, and they'll blend in. They're, I don't know if you can see, probably they're more like that. They're more like that mauve kind of color. So I'm like, okay, let's just get, I want to get more. Hold on a second. I'm talking and putting this in and not thinking. I want to get just a little bit more of this so it's not the only. Well, boy. Mary's talking, not paying attention. I want to get a little bit more of this kind of pattern on here, a little bit. Okay, that'll be, see, now we've got more than just one of those little things on there. I saw that after the fact. We need to make it. Got it. So anyway, this way it's got a little bit more of the design on there. It's not just one of those things. Kind of looked weird for a second. So anyway, I will be getting them about 2 weeks. Just as like, you can pick out a whole new one. I'm like, really? Sure. We can make that happen. So I'm getting all new glosses. I mean, I got them in February. The lens should not be falling out this easily. Come on. I mean, goodness gracious, I'm not. I got a whole new one. Okay, we're done. And I said to him, I once I got these, they were comfortable in the store, but they're kind of heavy on me. I don't like the way they sit. And then if I'm really kind of struggling with a migraine, they kind of feel like they're really big and they're heavy and they slide down all the time. They look great, but they're really the other style of my other glasses. They're up like this much, and the style just works better for my face. So they were all about it. I was like, baby, I'm fine with it. Thank you. So, and I am going to, I know I may hear my husband say something in a minute when I say it, but I've got the yarn to make it. When I leave here, I'm going to make an Ohio State, a couple Ohio State soap caddies. I think that would go over very well at the event we're doing. Oh, one other thing I was saying, I don't talk about much as far as everybody has their own religious beliefs and all that kind of stuff. But if you all have, what is it? Roku. If you look up Following the Messiah, I've been watching that. It's like a whole little series. It's just like it's not one episode. Hi, Noe. Welcome on in. You guys can put hashtag blessed in the chat if you want people to know where you're connected with. We're doing a project that is called Kinusaiga. But it's called Follow the Messiah. And if you're someone that believes in all that, it's a great thing to kind of see, and even if not, to kind of really see where where Jerusalem is and all that kind of stuff. As far as that, it's a very good a very good series and kind of understanding, just to be able to see it in person. I said, really won't be able to see it anyplace else. Another thing too is I added both. Sorry, give me a moment. I added both the glues onto the fabric list. So those are now on there. I also, and I have to make a code for it, I uploaded the rose to our merch store. It is a free download for you. It always will be. It's called the Rose. Again, we just ask if you're going to be using it for any social media purposes that you please email us and ask permission in order to be able to use the pattern online. And of course, you give us credit and let people know where they can find it, where they can find our YouTube channel. So that's all we ask. that, if you're going to use it for tutorials or, any kind of classes or anything like that, that you don't claim it as your own work, that you certainly give us the credit for it. And click our link to our merch store and give them our YouTube channel. So doesn't mean that they'll necessarily, excuse me, connect with us on YouTube, but that's just one of our requirements. You just link our YouTube channel, link our fourth roll store, tell them where they can find the pattern, and that you give us credit, and then you may use it in tutorials or stuff like that. So I don't think that that's I think that that's a respectful rule, as all of our patterns will be kind of request. So it's there. I will get a code for it. And what I will do is I will give you the code for the collection. So as we add patterns to the collection, they'll all be underneath one place. And this one will be free. Every other one will be $2. And we're only doing the $2 because, it does take time and effort, and it also takes resources to test all the patterns so that we know that they're able to be used and so forth. But then too, that we're taking a little portion of every pattern sold and making sure that it goes back into our shoe boxes every year, because we fill those every year for Samaritan's Purse. I'm going to hit this with a little snippety because it means it. And I did see, I didn't get it yet, but I did see a seam ripper at Walmart. I just want to get, it's kind of like these are somewhat of whatever, the things that when people have sore hands, aerodynamical, I can't say it. Seam ripper, and I do want to get it at Walmart just to try it out for you all. And once we get our approval too, that way you'll have that too if you want to order that, or you're at Walmart, you see that seam ripper for people that have carpal tunnel or so. I'll tell you in a second. People that have carpal tunnel that need that kind of aerodynamical kind of tool, I can test it out, but really what I think of it. So just kind of going in there. I call it a facelift. Sometimes we all need a little facelift. These shoe boxes are done by Samaritan's Ministry. If you know or have heard of Billy Graham, I actually went to school with Billy Graham's granddaughter. Her former husband was our youth pastor at our church. His son and daughter down in Florida, First Presbyterian Church, used to come to our church. Christina was a baby, and of course, I fled from a very difficult situation and went to live with my parents for a little bit. And I went to church the first time. My dad went all around the place and showed Christina off. And my dad went over to Billy Graham's son-in-law and said, "You got to come see my grandbaby." And he said to the people there, I mean, he just was so excited. And he said, "Well, I better go see the grandbaby. I've got to go see Chuck's grandbaby." So anyway, they had a big wedding in our church. Jerusha, which was his granddaughter, and them. They had a big wedding, and of course, I wasn't there for that. But I did pass Billy Graham on the street one time. I was going with my grandmother. There was a shop not far from their house, within walking distance of my grandmother, and she said, "That's Billy Graham," and she said, "Do you want to meet him?" I said, "No, I don't want to bother him. I really wish I had." But anyway, I'm sure he came maybe when he was home in Florida and picked up his granddaughter at school. I would have never known. Anyway, the shoe boxes are done by Samaritan's Purse Ministries. And what we do is last year, first year of the YouTube channel, we dedicate in memory of my grandmother. We do, we did 2 shoe boxes the first year. We did 4 shoe boxes the second year. This year we're hoping for 6. So I decided that as these patterns grow, that I would take 50 cents of each pattern sold. That's why we're kind of doing them for the $2 and put them in the fund for the shoe boxes so that we can do even more. And then the shoe boxes are sent all over the world. The first ones we did were sent to Guatemala, I think. The first 2, I didn't track the other 2 because it costs like $10, I think, to track each one. And we just stuff them with toys and socks, and we put soap caddies in there and pencils and pens. And I always try to find pencils with smiley faces because that's kind of my grandmother. There's a whole story about smiley faces with her. And we fill the shoe boxes because that's maybe all these kids have is these little shoe boxes. And then right before Thanksgiving, we drop them off at a local church and they send them off. And so these kids are opening them, and there's a little letter in there that we put in just from you all saying this is from the Blessed to Crochet community. So we do that because truly, maybe all these kids have to open for Christmas is what's in these shoe boxes. So we do that every year, and it's become a tradition now to some degree. So anyway, that's our shoebox drive we do. And it's all about giving back, you know. You're gonna be blessed. You gotta find a way to give back. Oh, by the way, it was at Lowe's. We were at Lowe's for something today, real quick. We brought Mama because she can get a military discount. She wasn't there the day we bought all that stuff. And there was a lady at the register, and she just was kind of having a bum day. And she was just having a tough day. You could just really tell that she was just kind of like, she says, not you. She said, you have just actually been the most wonderful people. She said, it's just a lot today. She was just having a rough day. I've been there as a cashier. She couldn't have been nicer. She really couldn't. She was just sweetheart of a lady. And so I said to her, and I had heard this from a comedian and it stuck in my head. And he says, I ask the cashier every time I'm at the register, what your favorite candy bar is. Now, he was talking about getting himself a candy bar at the register for himself because he was the cashier if you're going through the self checkout. But I just looked at her and said, what's your favorite candy bar? And she said, Three Musketeers. And they didn't have Three Musketeers, nor was I going to pay almost $4 for a candy bar for even a Milky Way or something like that. I thought it was ridiculous, right? So anyway, I just went, and there was wrap cookie for like $2. I bought her a cookie and I brought it back to her and I said, I hope your day gets better. So you know what? If you're at the register and you're seeing somebody and she couldn't have been nicer, you wouldn't have told. She just, and she had some disabilities, you can tell, but she was there working. She was there serving the customer. She was there being just really nice. And just couldn't have been nicer. There was an old lady there talking about her tomato plant. She just nicely listened to her. And, you know, so I just thought, I just went and spent $2. I said, here you go. I brought it. She didn't know what I was doing. And I said to her, well, they didn't have a Milky Way. I think it was Three Musketeers. I said, they didn't have a Three Musketeers, but here's a cookie. She goes, oh my goodness. She goes, nobody's ever done like that for me before in my life. She goes, nobody's ever done that. She goes, thank you so much. I said, I really hope you have a wonderful day and a happy 4th of July. She said, you just made my day. And I thought, when you're at the cash register, maybe say to the cashier, what's your favorite candy bar? And just get them their favorite candy bar and say, here you go, and thank you. I just, I guess because I spent years as a cashier, I was a cashier. I worked in hotels. I've been on the front lines, and I know what it's like to have people that are just really rude and not very pleasant to be around. And you know, I'd like to get to the point with our soap caddies. I can just hand them one of our soap caddies and say, "Here you go, have a great day." But I didn't have any soap caddies on me. So she said, "Thank you." She just was so surprised, and I thought, she goes, "You didn't have to do that." I said, "Oh yeah, I did," because I've been there. Um, Told this story on this channel before, and I'll tell it again. Um, we had a gentleman I was working at, and I told the story. The gentleman that served our country. He was a veteran, and told him thank you for his service and veteran. And we were talking, and we were talking about people and customer service and everything like that. I said, I told him a story, and I said, there was a gentleman, I worked for an auto mall. He was not the head mechanic, but he was up there. He was like the second in command. He had had a motorcycle accident. He was wearing half of a helmet, crashed, and he had like 8 kids. It was so sad. And so anyway, we had tilt your board like this. If you need to make cuts, it's so much easier to get in there and really kind of cut it, because you're not having to cut it downward, you're cutting it up. So anyway, he went home one night, but he didn't make it home. Got into a car accident. He went flying and he didn't make it. And so he was on life support for a couple of days, and they finally had to make the decision to do it. And so we were at the thing, and my boss goes by, and I just said to him, "How's Mike doing?" Not one word out of his mouth. He just looked at me and he said, "I knew then that he was gone." I cried. I just started crying. And this customer came up to me and said, "Ma'am," Zach. Hi, Zach. He said, "Ma'am," he said, "I'd like to know." That's awesome. "I'd like to know why my car isn't ready yet." He says, "It's taking way too long." I said, "Sir, I'm very sorry it's taking a little bit longer than normal, but we just found out that one of our team members passed away, and they've just heard the news back there, and just give them an extra few minutes and we'll have the car done as soon as possible." And Zach, before I forget, I am going to give you a channel shout out. Let me take a snapshot of it. You can still hear me? Sometimes it doesn't work, but hopefully y'all can still hear me. So anyway, this customer just couldn't. I mean, I said to the guy, I said, I couldn't get up and deck him, and I wouldn't have done that. But I said, boy, did I want to give him just a little piece of my mind. And put a 1 in the chat if you can still hear me, please. So I'm like, I would have decked him. And I just said, "Sorry, sir, I'm very sorry. I will let them know. We'll get the car done as quickly as we possibly can." But I thought, I've just told you that one of our family members and our team members had passed away. He has 8 kids he's never going to see grow up. They're never going to see their dad. And you can't say, "Oh my goodness gracious, I understand." Instead of, "That's not my problem." He said, "That's not my problem." He said, "I want my car done right now, please." He says, "I really don't care. It's not my problem." And I was like, I don't really want to know you. And the girl that was taking up the next shift, she comes in not 5 minutes after that, just crying her eyes out. I'm crying. And I'm like, I was kind of very thankful because I knew the girl that I was working with. She's a dear friend, but she's Jamaican. Boy, sometimes she could have a little temper to herself. and so forth. And so I'm like, I'm really glad you dealt with me and not her, because I can guarantee you that that would not have been the response out of her mouth. There was nothing that I could say, really, honestly. There was nothing I could say disrespectfully, because I would have been in big trouble, but I would have sure liked to give them a piece of my mind, because I was not happy with. I just thought, you know, I know it's not your problem, and I understand that, but they just found out that he passed. And he was like a really cool guy. He was, you know, he was a really cool guy, and they all loved him back there. And he was just, you know, but, oh, I just, and it was so hard. We all went to his funeral. Oh my goodness. Watching him, seeing all his 8 kids lined up. Oh my gosh, that was sad. It was like, my heart just bled for those kids and for his wife. And believe me, and yet I had to keep my cool, even though I didn't want to. Oh, Dan. So, anyway, that was kind of, that was not, so I've been on the other hand of some really ugly customer service. So I know what it's like when you've had a rough day. I think, guys, customer service, people in customer service, they really have one of the hardest jobs, on top of nurses and all that kind of stuff. But they just, you know, they're just, they really just have a lot of they just have, hi Otto, they just, it's a, to stay calm and cool and collective while you're getting screamed and yelled at. It's not easy, believe me. So I was probably a teenager one time. Not a teenager, I was in my 20s. I was third key manager at, what was it? At Claire's. Now I'm going to say this PSA announcement. You can do whatever you want with my little piece of advice. If you have children, especially babies, and they're girls, today it could be guys going to get it done. Please do not take your small children in order to go get their ears pierced. Little babies' ears are tiny. They grow. And when you pierce a baby's ears here, all the times that I saw him here, like here, I said, when did you have the ears pierced? When I was a baby. Because what happens when you pierce them in the middle as babies, they move forward this way. They're never even. So wait till your child's 9 or 10 years old and then go have them pierced. Do not pierce them when they're babies. It is, believe me, none of us girls like to do that to little tiny babies. Go take your child at 9 or 10 years old, go take them to a Claire's or someplace, make sure 2 people are there, sit them down, do them at the same time, done and over with. I also never did it to little kids until I had 2 people, myself and somebody else. That's my little PSA announcement about ears and babies. So anyway, that's kind of my little thing. So anyway, she came in the store and she had her little baby's ears pierced. We had said, yeah, don't do it. I saw more ears with ears not right because they pierced them when they were a baby. Anyway, get back to what I was saying. She came in the store and we told her, do not take your child's ears, your earrings out of your child's ear and do anything with them, right? Until you have until like 6 to 8 weeks. Well, she took them out before 6 to 8 weeks, and she put wires in her daughter's ears. Well, what do you think happened? The ears closed because she didn't listen to the instructions. And you're given printed instructions when you go, and you're told what to do and what not to do, right? So she came with the little earrings in hand, handing them to me so that I could, in essence, put them back in her daughter's ears. I looked at her and I said, ma'am, first of all, I can't put them back. They were 14 karat gold earrings. I cannot put them back in the ear gun, even if I wanted to, especially with that one. The other one is a whole different story, but that one specifically, I could not do. That's the first thing. Second of all, I could lose my job because if I put those earrings, even if I could, back into the ear gun, I am going to risk infection because no matter how many times I soak them in alcohol, I can never get them sterile enough as they are in the little package before we open them and put them in the gun. Another thing too is once you pierce the ears here, okay, once you have your ears pierced, like I had second holes someplace, they have since closed up. You can't pierce on the same part. Like if my earlobes closed up, I could not go back and put the same earrings over those earlobes. Because what happens when you do that, there's a pocket of oil and sometimes it can get infected. So you have to move it just slightly so it's not going back in the same hole. It can cause an infection. You think I've pierced a couple of ears in my life? Yeah. So anyway, she was not happy with my answer. So she picked up a stuffed animal and threw it at me and walked out of the store. We had two Claire's. We had a Claire's and we had, I don't remember whether Claire's did two names. I don't remember if it was still that name or whatever, but I called the other store and said, you may have a woman coming down to your store that wants to have you put the gold earrings back in her daughter's ears. Don't do it, please, because I just told her it can't be done. So she came down to do it. Um, she came down to do it. Sorry, but it can't be done. But I called the store and I said, she just threw something at me. I also called a shoplifter one time when we were at the place. That was fun. And when we had shoplifters at our store, we had the police department, the Coral Springs Police Department, because that's where the mall was located at. The Coral Springs Police Department, we were very good, especially when they were young. They would take them out of the store in cuffs. And oftentimes, especially if it was in the summer months, they had friends in the food court. And they wouldn't just take them out the door because we weren't far from the front door. They'd take them purposely around the food court and show them off to everybody. Just walk them through the food court. They made sure they had a little bit of taste of what it was like. But the girls had gone around that day, take this off, and literally had stolen stuff from different stores. Everybody was trying to catch them, and I caught them. Caught the one girl, and I caught the one girl. Let me take this out for a second because I don't think I did enough cut. And I had her in the back. Guess the other girl felt guilty. She came back in there. And I just looked at the one girl for the police officers to get there. And the two girls were then sitting in the back room where I was waiting for the police and my manager and all that kind of stuff because I was the third key manager at that time. And I just looked at the one girl who I knew. I knew it was the other girl that probably put her up to it, not her. And I just looked at her and said, see that girl next to you? That supposable friend that you have? Yeah, she was going to let you get away with everything. She was going to leave it up to you to hold the bag for everything. I'm glad she came back, but you may want to choose your friends better. I said, because she was going to have you hold the bag for everything. So I don't know if it made an impact on her, but I pretty much just kind of, I told her. I telling you, I cut that too. I don't miss the mall at all. That was not an easy place to work, especially during Christmas time. Oh my gosh. It was not it's not a fun place to work at Christmas time. I don't know. I may have to make cuts in this. We may not be able to get this all. May have to make a little. Okay, well, we're gonna take that off for a second because I'm gonna have to make this is why you have your pattern and you have a pen, because when you have to make cuts, it's too big. So let's go ahead. We're gonna make a cut here. That's why I did post this on the Facebook group, and somebody's like, can I have the pattern? I'm like, I'm not done testing it out yet. We're gonna do it there. We're gonna do it here. This is why you should have your tool at the ready. So if you need to make cuts as you're doing it, yeah, but I can't get the cut big enough to make it all come in there nice and neat. So I'm making a modification. So we're gonna do this. Okay, that should work. So makes little cuts, but then you have your pen and I can go, okay, the second cloud down, we got to make a thing here and then here and then here, now here. So now I don't have to remember. I just know that that's a correction I have to make. Have your thing ready to go. That's why. Okay, we're gonna try to kind of use the same fabric. It's just too big of a space to try to do it. I was trying to get it in there and it just was like, no, we're not, you can't put me all in there. It's not gonna work. Too many curves. We have the fabric. It's not like I have to worry about that. I mean, I could have made these like part of the sparkle, but I want to leave the sparkle as the flag. I don't want to do it for that. So I'm very glad I don't have to work at the mall anymore. All the people, I mean, we really don't have malls anymore. Christina was at a mall a while back ago. This was a while ago. And I guess it's some kind of day. And I think to myself, boy, we should be getting our kids doing something better than going into malls terrorizing people. Something with Canadian, I don't know. And they had to usher them. She was in some kind of store. They had to usher them out the back because these kids were causing ruckus. People that said that they had somebody had a pew pew. I mean, I'm like, we need to get our kids into something better than trying to do this stuff. I mean, come on. What are we trying to do with them? She said she had to go running, which she hasn't run very well. This was last year sometime. She said it was scary. We had to be ushered out the back. All the shops closed their gates. So it was. Does anybody remember Luke Perry? I went to meet him one day. That was scary too. I called it Luke Perry or Luke Perryville. After that, I mean, you felt the floors of that mall shaking because they were not prepared for that onslaught. He was put on stage and rushed off. I saw him for a glimpse as he was kind of rushed off the stage. He was put on and he was rushed off very quickly. He was actually born, and I've been to the town. I should go there one day. But he was born in Fredericktown, Ohio. And I'm talking about tiny. It is tiny. Actually, when we were up here, and of course, we used to come up and visit my mother's godmother, my namesake. We went to we left a little bit early so I could stop by and see Fredericktown. I wanted to see the place of Luke Perry was before we went home. And we were driving. My mother had got a rental car and they didn't have the one that we were renting available. So for some reason, somehow we got an upgrade. And it was like a Buick. It had all of the the bells and whistles in it at the time, electric windows, all this kind of stuff and everything. And it was red, and my namesake loved the color red. Or she loved the color. That was her favorite color. So she was just in heaven with this car. And so we stopped off at what Luke um, or Perrysville, Ohio, Fredericktown, Ohio. And we my mom was trying to figure this was before we had GPS, y'all, and everything. So she was trying to figure out how to get back on the highway from there so we could get to the airport. And my mom stopped about the only gas station that was around this area and said to the guy, was talking to him, was like, how do you get back to the airport? Da, 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 da. And before he even she came in, he just looked at her and he said, whatever it is, lady, it's gonna cost you. He was just kidding, but I mean, if you want to talk about you see one thing on the other and you see, I mean, it is tiny town, and there's not much to it. It was sad that he passed away as early as he did. But they said he used to come back home. No, it was Tennessee. He lived in Tennessee. And they said there was a favorite restaurant he stopped off at. They said he may have been, a star, but they said he very much was, a good old country boy. And the thing about it that I really impressed me tremendously was I was watching some kind of documentary or some kind of interview or something that him and Jason Priestley did. And Jason Priestley and him said in the interview, we kept each other balanced. We were accountable to each other. We knew that we could come in one day and be given our pink slips the next day. And he said, we grew in popularity so fast. And he said that the two of us really helped to keep each other grounded. He said, because it was really easy to get really lost in this, world that was just kind of exploding around us at the time. And he said, we just kept each other straight on the narrow path together and kept each other accountable, came to work, did our jobs, and left. He said, not that we didn't make friends and have a good time and all that kind of stuff, but he said, we kept each other grounded because he said we knew that as easily as we could, we were doing our jobs and we were grateful we had them and everything, we could be given our pink slip the next day and canceled and on to the next. And he said, So the two of them really were good friends, but then they were really grounded. They said they really helped each other. And he said to kind of keep each other accountable to coming in and doing our jobs and, not letting the stardom get to our head. And he said it was not easy to do because we rose, everything hit so quickly that he said it was really hard not to do. But he said the two of us just made a pact with each other. We're gonna keep each other centered and grounded. And they did, the two of them. I thought that was so good. I thought, boy, you know, they realized as quickly as they had made all their stuff and everything, they could be on the street and, off of a job and not have any income for, however long it is till they got their other. And I think that what happened too, with especially him, not maybe Jason Priestley, but him, I think that he found it very hard to find work after 90210 because he was typecasted. Oh, welcome on in. Well, that's awesome. We do a lot of crochet. I usually crochet and just talk. This is a channel where we do a lot of connect and grow so that you guys can connect with each other. But this is a new project that we have come up, or that we have learned, that we are learning, that I'm just really as passionate, I think, with it as I am with crochet. Yep, it is called, this is the fabric list. That's the list, or that's the list we're using for the supplies. This is what it's called. And it does not like what it pronounces. You take a pattern and you're tucking fabric into insulated board. Sorry, that's not right. What I should do is get a website that's really good at giving you all the history behind that, and I'll make a little thing so people can see. I don't think I have our first one. Do I? Oh yeah, here it is. Oh. This is our first pattern. This is now in our merch store. It is available. It will always be a free pattern for you all. It's called the Rose. So one thing I will tell people, taking a break from the second, I included the pattern with a border, with just a thin line border around it. Just means so you can cut it out. I included the thing without the thin line around it. I also just uploaded it, and then you guys can determine what size you want it to be. I need to get more felt. That reminds me, I gotta order more felt. I'm gonna keep mine purple. If you see purple felt on the back, that's mine, and if it's blue, it's gonna be Christina's. She does any. But I did include that, so it has it with or without. So if you don't want the border around it, you don't have to. This is something I have to learn, but this was our first one. This is kind of one we're working on, but I have to modify the pattern because it's not going to work as it states. Is this one, and I think I'm getting better and better as I go. We are doing an event at the Goose. So this pattern that I'm testing right now will be available on our merch store for $2. We're going to be doing an event at the Goose, so this is going to be what I will work at the Goose. And then we will also be doing this cross. We've got more patterns coming, more testing coming. I'm enjoying this a lot. A lot more than I thought. It's very relaxing. one other thing that I really like about doing is it kind of gets, like I said, when you're crocheting, you kind of have a pattern you go with. When you're crocheting, you kind of have a pattern. When you're diamond painting, it's kind of like you got to put the diamonds where they say they have to do it in order to make the picture look like it's supposed to. But this, you kind of have a little free reign in which fabrics you choose to put in, and it's kind of like I have a little bit of a little bit more craft, a little bit more creative license to some degree. Not that I don't with my blankets and all that kind of stuff, but once you choose the colors, you're kind of set. And then I really like doing it on lives because then you guys get to have me help me. Someone guys, is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? This works better. So, but it's a art that came from Japan. This lady was looking on how to be able to preserve. She had all these beautiful kimonos, and she wanted to be able to preserve them. And so they took wood, and this was done in the 80s. So it's not a very new art form. And she tucked it into wood. Since then, artists have used insulated board, the Pink Panther insulated board or whatever, polystyrene, and it in order to tuck things in. So we're going to be doing patterns. We're probably going to be selling our artwork at points as I'm getting better and better at it. Right now, there's just some things happening in my life that I really need this right now. I need to be, it'll all work itself out at the end, but this has become a real, like, I look forward to sitting down and doing this art. I look forward to sitting down and doing it with you all. So one thing that I do have to get eventually is down the road, maybe some kind of pad or something. That's down the road. I'd love to get like an iPad or an iPad mini, but that'll have to be something maybe down the road. Maybe I'll find one on eBay so that I can be able to put that as my second camera instead of having my mother's phone. But right now, we're doing what we have to do. And hopefully, maybe YouTube will get it together and make it so that you can put, it doesn't have to be a phone that you can invite people to make it a second camera going through their app. I don't want to try to use OBS and all that kind of stuff. I know I could, but somebody would have to literally sit down and teach me how to do that. I know one person that could teach me how to make that happen, but that may not happen. Right now, I have to just use my mother's phone. Eventually, I'd like to get they said when you go live together, you can use a tablet, or some, phone or something like that. I'd like to eventually get all right. Thank you for stopping in. Eventually, I'd like to get an iPad mini or something. That way I would have the ability to go live together and have that second camera the way that YouTube has it. And even if I got StreamYard back, they still let you have a second camera. But man, the price for a second camera is ridiculous. I mean, alone, the prices for StreamYard are off the chain. They're stupid how much happening. I mean, I won't go into my rant about StreamYard. So. position it better. Yeah, it would. It would. I mean, StreamYard prices are ridiculous. I mean, if you want to add a second camera to StreamYard, it's ridiculous. And I wouldn't do it. But eventually that's what I would like to do because what I'd well, let me revert that back. It eventually what should happen is YouTube should have to make it so that you can be able to use a second camera through there because right now we're just going through the YouTube. I'm not going through any other platform. I just go through YouTube. I schedule a live. YouTube doesn't have it unless you do a together, and that's what I thought originally. I thought, okay, great. I'll do schedule a live together, send it to my 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 email, and allow me to go ahead and use my camera that I use on the computer. And then that way I can just run that off of the laptop. I was just going to run it off my Chromebook. No. YouTube only allows you to do that through a tablet or a phone. Now, eventually they should make it so that you can have a second camera, but that's not where they are now. And I am not paying StreamYard's prices. First of all, their streaming service, it's really good, and I'd love to have it back again. That's $450. Hi, Alfonso. I am. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I have my own little issue with that whole thing. So, and so eventually, hopefully, YouTube will get it together so that you can have a second camera through them. Because honestly, their way of going live, you should be able to do the same things you're going through a streaming service to be able to go through them. But that's my only 2 cents about it. So that's kind of where I kind of feel it is. Unfortunately, you know, eventually I will get that. It's down the road, but sometimes you can find like eBay will have eBay. Sometimes Josh will come across really good deals on eBay. People that are getting rid of their iPad minis or whatever. I mean, it would make sense to do through iPad. I don't think it's YouTube. It's StreamYard where you can kind of go like this and it does something if you have your iPhone, but I think it's like a, like that, but I think it's StreamYard that has that whole thing, which is great, but I'm not willing to pay $250 right now for, unfortunately. I'm just not, that whole thing with StreamYard when they did what they did was ridiculous. Yeah, one of these days. It's working. We're making it work the way it is now. Mom, we went to, where did we go to today? We went to, well, we didn't go into Sam's Club for very much, but we had to get mashed potatoes. I don't feel like making them, so I bought them. So we had to get mashed potatoes because we're having a turkey. Can't have mashed potatoes without turkey. Turkey without mashed potatoes, normally. So we went there. Plus, I needed cardstock because I'm going to have to print more things for the soap caddies. And I can get 275 things worth of cardstock at Sam's Club versus almost like, yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Um, you can get the same thing from, where is it? From Kroger or from Sam's or from Walmart, but you get 125 sheets for $5. But it made sense to go. It makes sense to get for $13 to get 275 sheets of the cardstock for our soap caddy things. So we went there. Plus, our printer was out of ink. Last time I filled ink in our printer was 2022 when Christina got married. So anybody's looking through a printer for a printer, get whatever those things are called, the S-Pen Incotank things. The ink lasts so long in those things. So we had to stop by there and get that. Mashed potatoes and some milk and stuff. So we were there and I ran in and got that. Then where do we go first? Went to post office, went to Sam's Club, went to Target for something that didn't work out. We went back to Sam's Club because first time we went to get gas and then we went back to Sam's Club. Then we went to glasses. Then we went to Walmart. Then we went to McDonald's because my headache was not going away. So I wanted a fish sandwich, which helped a lot. Then we went to CVS. It was just all over the place. But she's in there sleeping because she was tired when she came home. So she wouldn't be using her phone right now in T-Way. And if anybody needs to get hold of my mom, which is just usually my daughter, Josh has his phone. So we always text her. So if you need to talk to anybody, call Dad. And if you need to talk to me, Mom, she'll use his phone. Well, it's not like, you know. So there's always a way to get a hold. It's not like her phone is not blowing up. And like I said, she's in there actually sleeping. I mean, guys, it is so hot outside. Be praying for us on Friday. Oh my God. We're gonna be, bring my fan with the water. I have to get my, needs a facelift right here. Just a gentle, it works just to lift it up. You need a little section that needs a facelift. Just take your thing. Don't go you have to go underneath, like here. You have to put it down in the hole and go underneath so you're not getting the fabric. Be very careful not to grab the fabric, especially on the outside, because you'll rip it. You're gonna go underneath and lift. I don't know if you all can see that, but just be very careful. But I just call it a little mini facelift. That looks good. That looks much better. That was much easier to do. I would probably say I may redo this. I don't know yet. We'll see, to kind of be here, because I think now that that's there, I think we need to do that there. Because I think the clouds, my pain. I think it needs to be, we need it the same way. Otherwise, I think it looks more like a cloud to kind of have that. And this is where you're making your little corrections. So we will just, I'm going to literally rip this out. Because now that I'm seeing it from seeing this, and this looks more like a puffy cloud than this. So, and if you do this is, if you put something down and go, oh, I don't like that, I'd like to change it, please. You have the right to change it. Now, what has happened is a lot of the ticky-tacky stuff has come off. So you can do one of two things. Oh, sorry. I'm really sore. That one hasn't been opened yet. You have these little strips. I think I'm going to take these little strips and put them someplace. Okay? It's like you're not going to use that little tiny strip. Okay? Don't use your fabric scissors for it. And I'm just going to put this kind of here Get in there. Get in there. Thank you. I'm going to put this here. And I'm going to kind of cut out. You could have kept the cloud and I didn't. And I don't care if I just kind of get a piece. Okay. I don't care if the whole thing doesn't fit in here. It's fine. We just kind of want to. Okay. Just a little. I don't care. Just a little piece. Okay. Now we're going to put this right there. Try to get it. And then that way, whoops. That way you've got your sticky stuff back on that we just ripped off. Oh, wait, no. Before we do that, let's hold on a second. Get your knife and take the little pieces. We're going to kind of, we'll do that in a minute. Okay, so we want to take this. We want to, from this line down, we're going to cut. Of course, I've covered it up so I can't see. Be careful you're not cutting into the fabric. It just absolutely needs a, it needs to look like the other one to some degree. Lift that up a little bit. We're going to kind of take this very carefully because you don't want to damage the other fabric. Okay. Now we're going to lift this. We're going to kind of get it right here. Okay. So now we're going to kind of make this look similar to the other cloud, which is not what this kind of looked like. It didn't look like, well, let's see, hold on a second. Yeah, that little section. We'll fix it as we see fit. Just dig that in. Okay. I just think it needs to match this. Plus, it looks more like a cloud that way than the way I was doing it. That's all part of art. It's all part of fixing it. That's why I would, if you're going to sell your pattern, test them out. Because you can't just throw a pattern up and not test it. And plus, when people do like a crochet pattern, they like to see some kind of version of how it's going to maybe look. So they're going to realize how they may need to do it. I'm going to take the knife and just kind of, oops, did I get that fabric? May need my glue. I think I just nabbed it, but we're gonna hit it with the glue. I got the seam rubber after it. That's fine. I forgot to take the glue out earlier. It's gonna be covered in that stuff anyway, but we're gonna just do a precautionary measure. And I would highly recommend that if you think you've hit your thing with the seam ripper, just do a precautionary little thing because we don't want to have that damaged, especially the stars. And it could have been me. I could have thought I hit it, and I won't really know until I really look at it in a minute. I just thought that just, it didn't look like a cloud until yes. Listen, I can tell you who gave me patience. She's my daughter. I love her, but boy, did that child give me patience. Because when you have an autistic child, boy, do you learn the word patient. You have to learn the word patience. because unfortunately there are some times where patience does not breathe easily. As I said, no, we're not doing it. That whole section. Let me see what I did. Hold on a second. Nope. We're not going to do it that part. We're just doing it this part and this part. She taught me lots of patience. And I had to have it. I still have to have it today. But I have to look, see if I think. I'm not happy about that. If I, I still today have to have it because, just because they're grown adults doesn't mean they're not on the spectrum, and they don't have times where they're just, it's kind of right here is where I kind of nabbed it. So use your glue. It's not frayed enough, but I don't want it to be frayed. I want to stop it. It's just a little slit in it, enough to kind of make sure we're not going to be. And that's going to be covered up, but we're not going to do it. So, I mean, there was a lot of times I just had to grip my teeth. And I think having my dad with dementia, lots of patience. Because that was very hard to have to sit there and, you know, I remember the early days of him having it, and I was out. He was able to stay home, but we were out someplace. I can't remember where Christine and I were out. We came back home, and he just was in a dither. I mean, we kind of realized after that we didn't think we could keep him home by himself very often. And he was just in this dither, and he said there was all these cords on the floor, and this cord or something. I don't remember what it was, but he just looked and he goes, he just was just in a terrible state. I said, Dad, what's the matter? Because I came over to check on him like I did. And he just said, somebody came in here and they took all these cords and they did this and look at the mess they made. And I'm like, Dad, what in the heck are you talking about? And it was just like, they came in, and I'm like, who came in? And it was just, I just had to calm him down, but it wasn't easy, believe me. And so, I'll never forget, we had Jordan's bed on the floor, and he wanted to go lay in that bed in the worst way. He thought that was a place to lay or sit down. I don't know why. Didn't understand it. And I couldn't get over to my mother. I couldn't get out of the chair fast enough to, it was very hard. To stop him. My mother couldn't get to him fast enough, and he just lay down. He just sat down in this thing. He lay back like it was a recliner. Thank God. And I think, no, that was another time. Jordan wasn't in the bed, and I was just like, okay, do your thing, Dad. And but then the scary part is that we just let him stay there for a few minutes because he apparently wanted to sit there. My mom said, okay, Chuck, do you want to get up? Because it doesn't look very comfortable. But then trying to get him up, he couldn't remember how to get up. He couldn't remember, he couldn't stand right up. And we just remember saying to him, okay, put your knees on the floor, put the knees on the floor and he just couldn't figure out how to get up. He couldn't do it. He could get up off the couch, but off of that position on the ground, because it was pretty low to the ground, he could not figure out how to get up out of that position. We almost had to call the fire department and have them help us pick him up. Thank God for Josh, because I couldn't have done it. Josh was able to help my mother and get him up. So, my Lord, he just couldn't figure out how to stand up. I was like, okay. My mother's like, never again. And it did happen one other time. But actually, thank God the bed was there, because he'd have fallen and really hurt himself if it hadn't been. And Jordan was actually in the bed, and it was Christina's service animal. And he went down. And it was like, okay. So it was not, wouldn't wish that on anybody. It was a very difficult time. But that's one of the reasons why it means so much to me, because my dad and I really connected on Elvis. And even when he had dementia, I could play his music and I had my dad back. It was like I had him back for just a moment, and he would be in his chair, his wheelchair, because there was one point, towards the end, he really couldn't walk. He'd be in his chair and his feet would go like this and he would be dancing. Did you sleep? Yes. I figured that. Another thing I think I may need is a little Hoover. A couple of little pieces. Oh my goodness. So it's a very, very difficult thing to watch your parent do that and fall apart. And not only that, mind you, I was dealing with and raising at the time an autistic daughter who didn't like change. So things were happening. My parents had a house. We had to sell that, move them next door to us, which the house was for sale, because I could help take care of him and later on my grandmother. And Christina didn't like any of those changes. So we had changes happening, and it was really, it was rough. And she was going through her own thing, and I mean, 2013, and I have a thing I did all about 2013. But to give you a rough shot of what happened in 2013 in our family, why that year was just so difficult. I mean, it was like really hard for us. Christina was diagnosed with diabetes in February. My dad had shoulder surgery that was not on top of the autism. She had that. He was diagnosed with, he had rotator cuff surgery that didn't work. We decided we needed to sell their house. I had to walk away from my job. They sold their house in June. My uncle went for knee surgery in August and died 2 weeks later. And we got sick at the end of the year. And I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia all in 1 year. That was our 2013. And we spent Christmas sick. That was our 2013. I mean, it was like, that was rough. That was really rough. year. I was like, man alive, if you want to talk about rough. And my dad was diagnosed with dementia in 2012. So, we sold their house, we moved them. My daughter just couldn't handle it. I had to walk away from my job. I was starting to have some significant things happen with her fibromyalgia, and it was, it was rough. It was a hard year for us. It's not fun. But that place that we had moved, we had found a place, and as we were living in an apartment, had some pretty significant mold issues. And we moved, we found a place online, and we loved it. It was a 2-bedroom, kind of similar to this place, but it didn't have a den. 2-bedroom place, reasonable rent and everything. And it was in Coconut Creek. My mom was helping taking Christina to school and everything. So it was only like 10 minutes from her house versus 30. And so it just all worked itself out. Well, they were like fourplexes. So there was houses, it was called the, can't remember what it was now. It wasn't the clusters of my grandmother. I can't remember what it was called. It was huge. I mean, there was different little communities all through this whole entire section. Can't remember what it was. Anyway, and so we got it. We snagged it. It was just, I found it on Craigslist. It was, you know, they let us in there early to paint. They even let us move in there early and everything. And I mean, we were great tenants. They loved us for many years until they actually sold the property to my grandmother. Down the road, when she sold her house, she bought that house. Anyway, but the place next door in 2013 had been on and off the market for 2 years, and it had a beautiful lake front view. It was just beautiful. And my mom had actually taken my grandmother and my uncle to go look at this place. Neither of them liked it. They didn't want to, because my grandmother thought they would move there. Yeah, I like the clouds. They look more like clouds now. That whole section just looked like a blob. Yeah, it looks more like clouds now. So they didn't. My uncle didn't like it. My grandmother didn't like it. Eventually, she ended up moving in there because my mom was like, "Well, if they could buy that house, then you could be there to help. I could be there to, get to them easily because she only lived a little bit of, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes up the road instead of being 20 minutes up the road because my grandmother was in her 90s. She had a huge house in Coral Springs. And my uncle didn't like it. My mom didn't like it. And so my mom said, well, if you're not interested, I want it because, our house is getting too much for us, 3-bedroom house, and I'd like to move there because this way, Chuck had been diagnosed with dementia, and Mary can help me with them. And, it'll just be a lot easier if we had, of course, it was a condo. So you had all the maintenance taken care of, the trimming and all that stuff, the yard work and everything. And so it worked itself out to be there for my dad and my grandmother down the road. After my uncle died, she had to move there eventually. So then I could be next door helping. And there was times where my mom would call me on the phone because she was working at the church. And I wasn't working because of the dementia or because of the fibromyalgia and because Christina needed me. She was homeschooling and she just really needed me at that time. And so there was times when I would call and say, the bus is on the way, but the aid isn't there yet. and you got to meet your dad for the bus. So God used that place, um, and so forth for us. And they'd been on and off the market. The contractors had fallen through, and God was just holding it right for us because He knew we were going to need it for my dad and my grandmother and my mom and so forth. And it all worked itself out. It was a great little place. It had a community pool. We went down to the pool and go swimming, and you know, it was it was a nice place in there, and it was it worked. I said you can sometimes do it. You have to just be very careful how you do it. But if you go underneath, you need a little facelift. And that just really kind of sometimes when you need to clean up those lines, you can really get it to the point where you can get it, especially like this little tiny place. But you have to be careful how you do it because I've done it where it's like, oh, it's coming right out of socket. That's what we don't want, right? I love it. That's going to be covered up. The clouds look more like clouds. Yep, I totally agree. They look so much more like clouds. Now, what we're going to do this little circle with, I don't know. And I've got to start working on this here so we can put the whole thing around it. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. I don't want to do white. I like that little part there. Looks good. Let's just mash it over a little bit. That's better. Looks more in line. Do do. What do we do? Do 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 do. I don't know what to do. All right. I'm probably gonna get off here in a minute anyway. I needed to kind of come on here for a little bit, but thank you for joining us. For sure. I think if I do white, it's not gonna look great. I don't think it'll look good with stars. There'll be too many stars. I don't think red's the answer. It just if I do this, do you think I should do the same white that's here on here? Or should I leave that for here? Like, should I use the sparkle white on the very top of there? I don't think red's the answer for it. No, it needs different. That's what I'm thinking. I just don't know what yet. I do not know what yet. I don't think it needs red. That's not the. I wonder. I know it'd be dark. It would be kind of dark. No, that's not it. Well, maybe that would be it. I don't know. No. Oh, that's some, oh, wait. Kind of trying to make sure there's a star in the middle of that. Yeah, it's just like the little knobby thing. That one, or doing like something like this. The stars are kind of like that. I don't think I like that. I think maybe trying to find a star that would kind of go in the middle of that. What do you think? And they can have polka dots. We want to do polka dots. Yeah, that's what I thought. So if we try to get a star kind of in the middle, let's try to cut this. And then I try to position the star kind of to kind of get in the middle. It's not going to get the total star. I guess maybe I should use a tinier star. But maybe. Let's see. Let's position it in a way that kind of. Let's do it this way, where you're kind of positioning it. Okay. I think that'll work. Let's see. You can always pick it up and change it in a minute. Yeah, I did pretty good. I can move it down just a tad. Possibly just a little tad. That way it'll be more in the middle. Possibly. Yeah, I put the gold in the little part. I should have maybe done fine. It needed something in between. But I think the star is gonna look good. We're gonna try to get it in there.
It's coming along.
Yeah, mom's impressed.
Nice. Yeah.
Mom's impressed with my little self.
Yes.
She'll tell you I have lots of patience. And and the thing is, my dad was very, 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 very detail oriented. And I get my detail orientedness from him. I stinker. And I put her up here, guys, but I got knives and scissors and all this kind of stuff up here. I really don't. I don't want her to get hurt.
You ready for some chicken? Ready for chicken.
Chicken dinner. Even though sometimes it's turkey, but she.
Call it chicken. Everything's chicken.
And we can't let her out right now because the lady usually comes and gives her a run. It's too hot.
Oh, yes.
It's way too hot for it. I mean, it's just like boiling. There's a guy I watch on Facebook. He's in Indiana. If I ever get the opportunity, we go to Indiana. That where my husband's family lives. And he has grizzly bears and he does encounters. Of course, you're not allowed in the cage, but you get to see them up a little closer. And he said, we're under heat advisories and we're having to keep the bears all hosed down now. He said they're all having to be hosed down and cooled off and because it's just so hot. But he's done a lot of movies and trained his bears to be in a lot of movies. But very interesting guy called Jeff, the Grizzly guy, or something like that. He's really very helpful. I mean, he's very not helpful, but he's neat to watch. And I mean, he'll sit with them and them bears in this encounter, and he goes, "Would I recommend it for everybody? No." But he said, "This is the life I've chosen," and it's just. I mean, he'll sit there, and the bears will kind of do something. He goes, "Now, no, don't do that." I mean, it's like, you know, it's just, like he had a sign up something on this encounter, and some of the bears were going. I said, "You leave my sign alone." I mean, it's kind of like, well, tell the bears when he's done something wrong. Kind of, just a cool guy to watch. There, I think that looks good. I like the star on the. Not, it's not as straight on as I would have liked it, but it works. It looks cool. It's the perfect little thing just to put that little star on top. I put the gold there. I wish they'd had gold in like this stuff. Now, let's tackle this, and then this little section so I can start to put that together with the cording. And then, now I want to find a blue sky. I think I want to use plain. I don't want it to be too patterny. Kind of like this. What do you think for the blue sky? Kind of like that. That choice. I don't want it too dark. I don't want it too light. I think. Yeah, exactly. Looks good. All right. I think I like this. I think it goes good, and it kind of matches this blue that's in here, this other blue. It's kind of like a lighter blue. It kind of matches that blue. I think it'll look good. It won't take away from the other blue. It'll work. Yep. I think it looks good too. I think he's called Jeff the Grizzly Bear or something on Facebook. Sandy, I'll have to send you him. He's just full of a lot of knowledge, but I'm telling you, people that, but I'm telling you, them grizzly bears know. And he was one time he has a mama and babies, and the mama and babies, of course, don't know him, or the not the mama, the babies don't know him, but the mamas accepted him. And the babies swatted at the at the at the at him, and the mama turned around. She had her back to him because she trusts him, you know, and she had her back to him, and that baby swatted at him, and he just kind of he thought for sure. He thought the mama turned around at that point. He thought for sure. He thought maybe the mama's going to come after me. Mama went after the babies. Mama went after the little one. Brake checked her right in the wall. Not gently. I mean, not harshly, but gave her a check, put her in her place, and said, that's you're not allowed to do that. So she was training the little ones that they needed to be, that was not okay, acceptable behavior to do to him. And he goes, I wasn't upset. He goes, the little ones don't know me yet. He said, I'm not upset, you know. But I thought the mama was going to come after me. But he said, no, right. Took the baby nicely, but they found a bear. Oh my goodness, in so much trouble. But he said, the mamas accepted me. He said, the babies don't know who I am yet at the time. And he said, but mama was going to put them in their place real fast and say, that's my buddy. He's not going to hurt you, but you're not going to do that to him. And he said the mama was protecting Jeff from harm because she said it's part of the plan. Like when a new baby's in mix, like when, when as a grandma, you know, when we have that little one around, Mocha, then we'll take out in a stroller and take him for a take little one for a pack walk with Mocha and get Mocha to realize that this is part of our plan, and you need to be nice and kind and gentle, and it's just going to be a work in progress. And, yesterday, I think it was a couple days ago, and she was just sowing her oats, that one. I wasn't going to have it, so she give it a facelift, just gently. You just got to do it very gently, but you can. You have to go underneath, so it's not on top of the fabric. Anyway, oh, that's good. I like that. It's not because this is so busy. You got to have solid. So anyway, so she was having a moment. I just wasn't gonna have it. She was right by the bathroom over there. The bathroom was like right there. I put her right in the bathroom, closed the door, and it was probably about. I left her in there for a good 5 minutes. She wasn't in anybody. She wasn't in harm. She wasn't gonna hurt. Nothing was gonna get hurt. But she was gonna realize you're acting like a fool, and it's not acceptable. And so I put her right in the bathroom, closed the door. About 5 minutes, about 2 or 3 minutes into it, she was already whining because she knew and I opened that door and I just very, very sternly said, sit. And she was not going to come out of that door till I gave, I opened the door, but she wasn't going to leave that door until I told her it was okay. You're not going to go past that threshold until I tell you it's okay. She just, she knew she had done something she wasn't supposed to. And I just told her, okay, you sit. Told her to sit, told her to wait, gave her treats till she calmed down enough. She knew I was not happy with her behavior. I thought, you don't rule this first. We do. And you're not going to act like a fool. And that's the problem. Bully breeds have a lot of, first of all, they're very misunderstood. But you also cannot have them be the ones that are in control. You have to be able to be in control. And you have to take control, put them in their place lovingly, put them in their place and say, sorry, that behavior is not acceptable. And that's exactly what I did. You act like a fool, go act like a fool someplace else. But certainly not going to do it here. I lovingly just said, oh, no. We're not doing this here. And she did. She realized I just closed the bathroom door. She was in there for about 5 minutes. She wouldn't go in her crate. Usually she does in her crate pretty easily, and that's acting like a fool. That's usually where she goes for a moment, gets herself calmed down. I think she has ADHD or autism where she gets overstimulated and she needs to decompress. But she wouldn't go in her crate. I couldn't get her in her crate. She was just jumping around and barking and she was just acting ridiculous. And I just put my foot down. I said, nope, we're not doing this, Mocha. And I just got her in the bathroom, closed the door, and said, we're done. You're going to do this. You're going to do it someplace else. You're certainly not going to do it here. We're not having this behavior. And so that was it. Sometimes with her, we have to put the leash on. Like we have a leash that we have, like a house leash, because sometimes she needs that, because sometimes she gets a little bit ahead of herself. And if we need to take her and take her by the leash and put her in position or put her foot on the leash for a minute, let her realize, because sometimes she wants to be in control, and that's never a good thing. We're in control. You don't need to be in control. We're the ones who are in control. And so you don't get that. We've got it. You don't need to be in control of anything. We got you. That's because of lack of proper training when she was young. She wasn't trained properly. She wasn't raised properly. And because of that, we got a dog that certainly could have done better with a lot more appropriate training. Unfortunately, we got a dog that we love her, but the way that she was trained was not appropriate. Was trained in a way she wasn't trained. That's part of the problem. She was abused. We just kind of we have to be very loving with her, we have to be the ones in control with her and let her know that her her way of doing things is not the way that we're going to accept them. But the bully breeds are wonderful dogs. They're very misunderstood, honestly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry this down to here, hopefully. Hopefully this whole thing is going to last. I'm going to hit the top parts of it just in case I have to do a different color down on this side. Different shade, because if I run out, I don't want to do that. So it's like a baby, you know. They've said to mothers, if you feel like you're not in control, put your baby not in the car, in the crib and walk away. And get yourself back into control if they're crying. Well, you know. So, they're the same principle. She needed a moment, get herself back in check, and she did very quickly. Me, and she was fine. But I think sometimes it's just, and we sometimes if she's just having a moment, she's just, needs a few minutes of getting her act together. She'll go in her crate, but she would not go in the crate the other day. Could not get her in. So the bathroom door was right by her crate. And she went right in there. Packed her right in the bathroom and said, no, we're done. Go in there, get yourself in check. And she did. Came out. She was like, I messed up. I'm like, yeah, you did. I love you, but you messed up. I'm not sitting, I'm not an expert by any stretch of the means when it comes to dogs, but I think when it comes to the bully breeds, you have to be the one in control. You cannot, first of all, especially if they were abused, there's a certain level of control you have to have. You, first of all, I would never recommend anybody raising any kind of bully breed without um, you don't know what you're doing. You've never had a dog before. Get on there. No. Can use that piece over there. Don't get that as your first time dog, please. Get a lab or something. Don't go after it. Don't do a bully breed and it be your first one. You don't know what you're doing. It's not the dog for the first. No, it's not dog for the faint of heart either. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have some training behind it. Yep. So, but I'm going to do the light blue kind of up to, oh, there's a cloud here I have to hit. And here's another, we're going to make another line here in the cloud. I didn't see that until I just saw it. So to make that, looks like a heart, but still, that'll do. I'm going to go to like the cloud over here. And then if we have to change the blue and I don't have enough blue, we can do these with different kind of blues. But for right now, I may not need all that blue right there. I may be able to take some of the blue in a minute, like for there. But so I never recommend a bully breed for a first time owner. Never, never, never. They're not the right they're not the right dog for somebody that's never had one. They're great dogs. Staffies are wonderful dogs. They're just not for first time dog owners. And I think a lot of people get them and they don't understand them. They don't know how to control them. And, I think everybody kind of has a dog. I'm trying to see if I need to. It has to be down a little bit more. I think everybody kind of has a dog that, I think before you get any dog, you need to research and see if that's the kind of dog. I will say we love Mocha, but if we had our type of dog, it would not be her. Just because of our lifestyle, the fact that we're disabled the way we are. I wouldn't recommend it for someone that, may be disabled or elderly person. And yet, just you need to do your research, find out what physically you need. And there's certain kind of things that, that's my kind of opinion. Whatever it's worth. As far as do your research, just don't get a dog. They're cute, they're wonderful without doing your research. Making sure that that's the dog that you need, not only for your lifestyle, but for your environment and all that kind of stuff. But we love Mocha, but it's not the dog we would have winded up with if we had our choosing. But Mocha, as far as I'm concerned, chose us. And technically, it was the dog was eventually supposed to go to Christina, and she can't have the dog right now. So, and I'm too afraid, honestly, that if we home Mocha, first of all, it would not be a good fit. We've taken a lot of time to get to know her. She would be someone that would not do well with being stuck in a crate. I would never ever leave her without being crated, because she'd get into too much. She deals with separation anxiety a little bit. She does better in her crate. So she would not do well spending hours every day while somebody was at work crated. She wouldn't do well. she does well with us because we're home a lot. And so she gets to be home and with people, and she enjoys that. So I would just be so afraid with her that we would do this. You know, I sit here and say, I'm not going to be long. I'm only going to come on for an hour and do this. And then you get into it. And it's like, how do you stop? I know it's easier to stop. Just say that you're going to stop. It's like, oh, I'll just do that piece. No, I'll just do that piece. No, I'll just do this piece. Trying to get to the point where I can do this part at least. Get the next part of the cording in for that. Come on. So anyway, it's my little PS, whatever you want to call it, PS announcement. Research, make sure that the dog you're getting fits your thing. I mean, we did at one point think about rehoming her, and she's gonna be. I was just so afraid somebody would come by and go, not everybody is gonna understand her, and then she'd just be a revolving door in the system, and then it maybe, she may be put down because people aren't understanding who she is and what she needs and all that kind of stuff. And that she's not doing some of her behaviors in an aggression manner. She's doing it because she just, she's just been abused and she's wasn't raised properly. She's probably taken away from her mother too soon. Some of the things that she should have been taught, she wasn't. It's not any fault of hers. It's because of her circumstances in life. But it was thought of there for a little bit. All right, let's do this part, and then we can add that cording to that little part, and I can add it to this side too. Like that part, and then cloud. Do that real quick. And this part I'm not worried because I'm not doing a cording for that. I can't do this side yet because I haven't done that. And then I think for tonight, so I need to go make some Ohio State soap patties. We still accomplished a lot tonight. But again, we've made our corrections. I just don't know if I'm going to have enough to do. I mean, I know I'm going to have enough to do here and here and here. I just don't know if I'm going to have enough to do the rest of this. So I may need to do something else on the side. We'll see. We shall see. It'll all work itself out. And I think what I'm going to do for this little piece, instead of trying to curve all the way around, is I'm going to make another little slight cut right there. So let's add another one straight up from the pole, just because I think it's going to need it. I'll eventually have to get some more plain fabric for certain things. So we don't want to make it too patterny up here because we want the flag to stick out. If you do too much of a pattern, you're going to lose the flag. Giving it another facelift there. You're not going to see it because I'm going to put the cord around there anyway. So. These little knobby things that just happen when you're dealing with that, because you're not going to see this because I want to frame it. And I've got some really pretty silver cardstock that's going to work perfectly with this. It's going to be perfect to have with it. This keeps it from popping up. See if this is going to work for here. Put that cording there for this juncture. And this is not going to peel down, but I almost. Yeah, over there. So I'm probably not going to make it through this whole round part. It's just not going to happen. That kind of cutting this up. If I have to, I can make a cut someplace else to stick that in. Let's do a little cut right there for a minute. Here we have a. Yeah, well, the recording will be around there. There we go. Let's lift this up for a minute and do some cuts. So we're going in a curve and around. It does help to do that. I think we made the right call to do half of it around the flag. Absolutely the right call for it. But I don't think it would have made it around the whole thing. Now I may do a little bit of a glue situation there. We'll see in a minute. See a fray kind of happening here, possibly. Hit your pitch. If you think you're getting a fray, just put a little glue there. I may end up putting a little glue kind of right there. I need to do a little facelift underneath here. There we go. If you think you're going to have just a little bit of fray, just take your glue. I can see a fray happen. We're going to take our glue and we're going to do a little surgery. And we'll fix it. Just, I don't think if I cut this, she would have been able to get it around the flagpole, around the circle part of it. But it does help to kind of lift underneath. You have to make sure you're doing it underneath because sometimes you just need to get this underneath. And sometimes just doing that, it does help to get that underneath so that you get a clean edge. It just does. And then you can kind of press it back and it works itself all out. Just like that. I'm going to hit that with a little bit of glue right there just so that we can, and when you're getting to these end parts, you can take it and really pull on this end part and that'll help it get in there without having to do, do much. It'll kind of help it. And I can have a little nibby in there. And then we can glue this little piece. So we kind of make sure that that's not going to go anywhere. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my glue, put it on a piece of paper. Go on here. Take this because it's still not good. And we're going to put the cording in there, and then I think I'm going to stop there. Take this, and then just have to kind of do it right here. And I think I'm going to do it kind of right in this little area. Just because that was kind of a tight little spot. And I really haven't noticed. I'm just very careful I don't do a ton of glue because then you don't want it to look like it's a ton of glue there. But it's just a little bit. And I just am very careful that I kind of just do a little bit of glue just around, more in the inside pocket than I am. And if I think I'm going to get it on the fabric, I really scrape it with the outside of the seam ripper. Okay, well, we're not going to have an issue now. And I think I'm going to hit it on this side a little bit, just in case we get an issue. Just because this was kind of a little, it was a kind of a little area and it kind of lent itself to a little bit of easy tearing. And I don't know yet. I haven't decided if I'm going to put it around there. I may put a little bit of the accordion right there. I think it may look good. We'll see, right? I don't know. I've got it. I've got gold. I don't know if that would look good there. We may put a little bit of gold. So I'm thinking that may look really good, or we do gold. I've got gold in this. Let's see, I can't do it yet fully, but you could stick a little bit of the gold 14. I'll have to get the gold out. Because I'm thinking right there, but the gold may be better there. So I'll get my gold out because it just may be enough right there. You see how that kind of divides this and this? I think I like that. So I'll get the gold out, but I think the gold will be better there. Absolutely. I will get the gold out. Okay. So let's hit this part. I've got the gold. I think that's what I'll do is I'll get the gold. The silver I don't think's gonna go there only because we chose to do the top. I gotta go work on. I thought about doing it earlier and I thought I should make some Ohio State. I'm thinking, nah, I got all the colors to make it. Let me just make it a couple Ohio State silk caddies. I'm expecting my husband, Ohio State. He is Kentucky. He likes Indiana State better than Ohio State. But I'll get the gold out. But I can't do the gold part little section there until we get done with that over there. So I'm going to finish the blue here and here and here and here. And I think I'll have enough to do these little sections. And then, of course, the clouds going here. This is a cloud. This is another cloud. And then from here down, if I don't have enough of this blue, I don't quite know what we'll do. I don't know what we're going to do yet. Because I don't know if I have another blue that's going to work. And I don't want to make it too much of a pattern because it's going to. We could do this. This is what we could do till we get down. If we run out of blue, we could take this, which is a very light green. This is an option, and be able to put this like here. I think that's what we'll do. If we run out of blue for the rest, and even though I think it would look good, and then from like here down, be able to put like the green. Or if I can put the blue to like here, if I could just get enough blue to kind of have enough blue to go down to this section, which I think I would. I think that this is the green we should put like behind the flag. You know what I mean? Or at least this section up. So this is the green we'll use for like right here and here and here for sure. So that'll cover that. And if I need to, I could use it for this section and like or like this and maybe cut this here or something. Like these two sections kind of bring them up a little bit like this. So this or something like this. But I think this is for sure the bottom of the flag. And we'll see how much blue. I mean, we should have enough blue to do the rest. We should, but we'll use this green for like definitely here before we get into here. And that's why I got this. I don't know how well this is going to go. It may not go, but I got this because I thought maybe for these hills, which this green and this green would go together, they're not going to clash. But I figured that for the hills, like right here, this will look really good. You know what I mean? For like the grassy hills that are right there. Possibly. We're going to see. Right? I'm going to get back to the coordinate. Get back to that. I think I may do one more cloud before we leave. All right, so take your cording and just Get your, don't put a lot of glue. You don't need a lot of glue. You just need just a little bit. You can see I put the glue there. It didn't really affect. It's going to dry clear, so it's not going to be, but you don't want to put a big, huge glump. You just want a little bit. But I will get the gold out. And we'll put it around the flagpole up there because I just think it'll add to it to be up there. The silver worked on the flag because we had the silver and the silver glitter and the white fabric. Just kind of dip it and dippy do. I'm gonna order those other tools tonight too. And the scoring board to be able to go over the fabric, or over, not over the fabric, to make the frame. And make sure you don't need frayed little stragglers coming along in your, if you do it there again. Just the little dips I tried to tried to, and then I did take my seam ripper and kind of just gently, you don't want it too far because then you won't see it. If you try to put it down there, you're gonna wind up, you press it down there too much, you're gonna wind up not seeing it. That's not what we want. You want to be able to see it, so don't press it down too far, but in certain areas, it just lends itself to kind of being a little bit down. And I'm just taking my seam ripper because you also don't want it totally like on the top. You want it to nestle in there. So you're kind of just taking your seam ripper, you're being very gentle. Okay. And then I'm going to take the seam ripper and kind of put this down in there. I have a little glue in so that when I stick it down, I want to make sure I kind of go back and kind of the little dippy doos. I'm kind of going back and just kind of making sure that when it comes to that, I'm going to do it. Oh, another one I'm probably going to try to do is the autism puzzle piece. I thought that would be really cool. Let's do it on this side, actually. If you do it on the side that you're going to do the other cordon to, it won't be, shut up. So when I tie this in, I don't want to do it up to the cloud, the sky. I want to do it so it's coming down so that it's kind of, if it cooperates, so that I'm putting my little tail in where I'm going to put the next row of cording in, just so it hides it. Cording, string, thread, whatever you would call it. Okay. That looks so cool. Just go over it a minute before it sets, because once it sets, you're not going to get it. I dipped that too far down, so if you need to, just pick it up. I want it in there, but not that. It's a fine line between too far down and not far enough. You're fine. I'm almost done. It's just nice to do this without a migraine that's banging on your head. There we go. And it's not going to be perfect, guys. We're not looking for perfect. We're looking, I always say, we're looking for cute, not perfect. I love that. That looks so cool. So cool. Right here. It went too far down in there. It needs to be in there, but not as far as it was. There we go. Gotta fix that. Okay. I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, we can do this side too. Let me do that side. That side can be done. Okay. Because this side, you can't do these little sides, just so you know, till your cloth is in there. Because you will that you might as well not put it on because it's gonna get hidden. It won't get itself hidden. Okay. Wait, what do you need? So don't bother putting your stuff in there till be careful with this one because it'll be easy to kind of dip it to the point where we can't see it. I'll have to bring this down. Clip that way too short. I'm trying to, now this one I've kind of had to position it away from the other one because it wasn't going to work where I wanted it originally to go, just because of where it's landing. Okay. Just lift that up just a little bit. Take your glue, do the same routine. Make sure when you put your thing down there, you're just taking a little bit of glue and just making sure that that string is going to stay exactly where you kind of positioned it. Just clean up your fabric and just take your thing and just press it down there because it just you don't want it down there too far, but you don't want it like sitting on top either. Totally. That looks so good. Oh, that cording makes such a difference around there. It really does on this flag, on this piece. Telling you, I would tell you I'd probably be, when this piece is done, probably sell it. Because I'm very, I wouldn't sell the blessed one. I don't think I did a great job on that. But this one, yeah, this one so far. Of course, I haven't gotten to the flowers yet. So once we get to the flowers, I may change my mind. But so far, I'm very impressed with my little self. You just saw a deer. That's awesome. Yeah, I think they're all probably in the shade right now. It's too hot. After we get this cloud done, I'm gonna stop. We're gonna stop. Let me get the cloud done. Maybe the clouds will be done. I can see clearly. Actually, I would probably want it to rain right now because it is so hot outside. Very glad I have that stroller fan because I'm telling you what, Friday it is going to be so hot. Like I said, that iron that I got, it was expensive. It was $15. I really didn't want to spend, but it was like If I need to iron something, it's easy, it's compact, it's something I can put with my stuff. I'm not having to. It's not the iron I want. There's another one I want, but it was too much right down the road. But I just thought I need a quick iron in case I do need to do a little bit of ironing on a piece, on a strip, but I don't want to have to pull out that big, huge iron that's years old. And then what was happening, I said to my mother, was because it's so old, when you use the steam, sometimes it's getting like rust stains on it because it's, years old, and it's just, it's, how after a while with irons and the steam and stuff, it just. So some of the fabric I was ironing with it was getting stains on it, because not because it was stained, it was washed, but it was getting it from the iron, from the water, from the steam. So that's like, well, now we're gonna have to. So I just need a little tiny compact iron that when I need to iron something, it needs to be done. I can turn it on, iron it real quick, and move on. You're dealing with little tiny pieces. I mean, still use the big iron, but pain in the neck. Yep, I'm loving it. I am absolutely loving the way it looks. Loving it, loving it, loving it. And I just feel more confident about it than, I keep feeling more confident about it. Actually, when we do the cross, which is probably one of the next pieces we'll do pretty soon, and when I do one of the crosses, I want to use only that lady's fabric she gave me. Maybe some new pieces in there, but anyway, that's what I want to do, and then I want to stop by her house and take her with the cross and say thank you. But that'll be like a cakewalk compared to. I gotta look this up. So, be a cakewalk compared to what we've done, right? Needs to have a little bit of sun, so it's just not. I forgot a cloud. I'll work on the clouds. This cloud part, and I'm gotta go work on some Ohio State soap caddies before them. They've got any soap caddies I've got 2 soap caddies that are done, but they're not sealed. So any of the soap caddies I'm going to do have to be done to tonight, so they can just sit, and then tomorrow I can hang dry, and then before we go, we can get those packed up and go. Well, the color I used for Ohio, or for the military ones, they were all like a red color, and I don't want to use Ohio State for red. I've got like this darker red color that I want to use for Ohio State, because it was one of the fabrics I got off of the wish list. Just because I want to separate the military soap caddy color and the red we're using for that from the Ohio State. I don't want it to be the same red, because I feel like, to me, that part of the patriotic and the military that we're using for the military collection and for the first responders, that red needs to stay with them. And I don't want it to be the same exact red for Ohio State. To me, that's honoring the first responders, because we use it for the fire department, we use it for the paramedics, we use it for the Marines, we use it for the Coast Guard. I don't want and we use it for Christmas and stuff, but I don't want it to be for Ohio State. Ohio State looks like a darker red. I want it to be just a little different of a red for Ohio State. Plus, I don't have that red, so it'll be fine. It'll go better, in my way of looking at it, with that than the actual other red. Trying to kind of get that piece. Come on, cooperate. Go under. Time for a facelift. Sometimes you need to do that because sometimes that just opens a pocket that you can get a little piece that's being a little. You okay? Josh?
I'm fine.
Couldn't tell what was happening. Heard him. All right, just making sure you're okay. All right. So that's the other cloud. I forgot. And I did divide that cloud. Originally, I just said it one solid piece, but with all the other clouds we had to separate them. So what I will do is I think I have enough blue to at least do this here. And I think, one second, I think what we're gonna do, just so this side looks like this, I think it'll be easier. I think we're gonna take this and, no, maybe not. I think it'll look better. I'll outline it better. I had to do it with here because of this. And I've got gold cording for this. And I'm gonna get the gold out. And we're gonna take that and put that on this little part here, but it's gonna be the gold. Just take this and kind of put that so you're not seeing it. So I think I'll have enough to do this and this and this and this and this. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough to do the rest. So I thought that maybe around the rest of it, maybe around here on this side, and hold this so y'all can see, so you know what I'm talking about. Around, well, yeah, no, I guess it's not gonna matter which way I do it, right? Well, there we go. So around this part, this, and here, and here, and here, we do this light green. I think that'll be what we're gonna do. It'll go nicely. And then when I saw this, I thought those little mountain peaks, there's several, there's like here, 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 and here right before the thing. I think that this would look really good to be kind of like the mountain peaks. It won't be too much, but I think it will look good to kind of have this as the mountain peaks. That'll go with this color. And then these leaves right here, these leaves, this here, I think we will do with like this green, because these greens all go together. So this will be enough of a green. And then when it comes to the leaves, we can do different things. Like even like kind of maybe even doing the leaves part with maybe like the polka dots, or we can even do the leaves kind of like this because it's a little bit lighter or something like that. We'll figure something out, but something like that. Another one, I don't know if I have it. It probably look very good too. Hold on a second, I'll find it. Do we have it? I'm gonna do. I don't have it in that. I don't have a gingham color. It won't work. Like a just have that won't work. So we'll figure it out. And then what was I going to show you all? Hold on a second. We can even do even like these polka dots if we wanted to or something like that. But I had this one. It was going to be too busy. Where were you? And then for the flowers, we'll kind of stay with red, white, and blue. Like I had this one, and I figured we could do a couple leaves with that. This is like stars and stripes. So I'll try to pick like reds to work with. I've got, where is that other one? Got this one. We could do a leaf with that. We could do one with that, alternating. We could throw some solid ones in, like this would go really well. You know, we could do a solid and then a print and a solid and a print kind of thing. I don't, yeah, I've got solid blue. Dark blue or no? I don't think I have dark navy, solid navy color. I don't, you think they would have thrown a navy in here, but I have blue, but it's not a solid navy. So it's different. I've got like this dark blue I could throw in. So we could, how many leaves are on here? Yeah, I could. But I think there's how many? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I did like solid print, solid print, solid print, solid. You know what I mean? So there, but we're doing it like alternating red and blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. You know what I mean? Alternating, I think would be the way to go. And picking up like I've got this one. This would look really pretty. It's got a little pink in it, but it looked really pretty in a leaf, and it's got the blue in it. No, it does not pink. It's just the thing coming through it from the previous one. So that like that one, it's a little on the thin side, but it would work. So there's a couple in here that would work for that. Let's see. I mean, this would even work, even though it's kind of busy, but it has the red and blue in it, kind of. You know what I mean? It would work. It would fly. I've got this one too. This would work for one of them. You know. So with this one, I've got one. I've got this one, right? And I've got the matching one like this. So you could do one like that in that. So we'll just pick at the polka dots. We'll just alternate between red and blue and red and blue. And if I can find one that kind of has white to it, that would be a nice break. Like this. Like that would be a nice break as one of them, just to add a little white so it wouldn't look like red and blue all the way through. You know. I've got that stars and stripes one, and it'll be fine. We'll make it work. Still, it's gonna work all together, but it is what it is. And then I got this too. These two, so even this could work. We could put that on one of them because do that. So anyway, I just saw this at the Walmart. And I'm like, this looks like the mountains. That's why I just loved it. I thought it's not busy. It's just really pretty. And you couldn't beat it for $3.50. Or I think it was on the clearance thing. And I'm grabbing it. But I've got gold. So we'll take gold of this and put that right here when we finish the rest of it. So I'm loving it. It's coming together so well. I'm so thrilled. I'm so thrilled with my little self. I'm proud of this one. Not that I'm not proud of Blessed, but Blessed is a lot of lessons learned in that one. That was for sure. That was for sure. It will always be a special piece. So I'm going to get off of here. I have got to go make a couple of Ohio State soap caddies. I was on here longer than I thought or anticipated, but I enjoyed it. I needed it tonight. So, and I'm feeling better. My head is not hurting like it was. McDonald's says great things when you're having a migraine sometimes. Yes, go to Hobby Lobby and check their clearance for their remnants. I got this at Hobby Lobby, I think for like $2. And I got this at Hobby Lobby and this. So go check their clearance because they've got good deals with stuff like that. So anyway, I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna go do some Ohio State soap caddies. My husband's probably Ohio State. He lives in Ohio, but he's a Hoosier. He's a Hoosier. He likes Indiana State. So I will see you all. I don't know if I'm going to come on tomorrow. Who knows? I may. I don't know. I didn't know if I was going to come on tonight, but I decided to come on tonight. Telling you, we just get into this, and it's like the world goes away for a while, which is kind of really nice. And I would really strongly suggest if you have this and you're doing it, get yourself a little container. Some kind doesn't have to be like that one, but just get a little container that when you're working on your projects, you know what I mean? You can put all your lids for everything in there because I don't know how often I have had to search for the dang on lid because I've lost it and I can't find it. And so this way, if they're in the container, when I get it done and I want to just close up shop and not have to be looking for things, it is not where I have to spend all that time looking for things. And I'm gonna put this in that bucket and get a little scrap thing. Get your scrap thing. Get your extra little piece of your little tiny. Well, I guess I can put that in there, but you know, so I'm gonna get a little bag eventually to put that in, but that way you have your scrap little tiny pieces of fabric and I'm not trying. I mean, I have some scraps, but like this, but those little tiny things. Oh, it's crazy. Um, that well, you know, you're a part of this community, and I love it. I just love having everybody here. I'm so thankful. But those pieces I keep in the pile, but those little tiny ones I don't. This way, if I put it on correctly, this way I've got all my things in place. I don't tell you how many times I was looking for the dang on little ends to the seam ripper and to the scissors, and this way I don't have to look for it. Oh, I wonder if our ironer's been here now. That's came on. I'm telling you, I am. There goes whatever. I mean, guys, look how long this cord is. They were not messing with the cord. They were not. Don't know if this is going to leak. I think I'm going to put it in here, actually. I'm going to keep the container in there, but we're going to put it in here first, only because if it leaks, I know. But they want you to make sure that if you have to stretch it far, I'm gonna put this in here for now because at least if it leaks, at least it can lay flat. And if it leaks, the fabric will soak it up, and I'll be able to tell. Other than it leaking in there where I've got glue and other things that if it gets wet, it's going to burn. I mean, it's a pretty decent sized queen. And I think I have another container. I will get it. That way I don't have to haul out the big iron because that was just a pain in the neck. Oh, and one other trick I learned while I have y'all here before I head out. I need a little vacuum. Another little trick I learned too, and if anybody's wondering where this is an actual cutting board from the Sam's Club. So I didn't get any cutting mat or anything. I just got it. Take your lid of your container when you got all these little scraps, right? Put it on the edge of the table, edge of your little thing, and just put them, wipe them off. And then you got any on the actual table that you need to do. And then that way you can just get up when you're done. And if you're smart enough, you may have even a little trash. I may start getting like a little trash thing. Right? You use a lint roller and a little thing. And then that way, when you get up, unless you have a little container you can put everything in, which I should get. That way, when I get up from here, all these little tiny scraps that need to go in the trash go right in there. And it's easy. And then I put it back on the container and start all over again. So, like I said, I don't know if I will be on tomorrow. I may. Who knows? But anyway, I am very thankful. And I'm I'm so tickled with my little self. I really am. I'm just like, if you want to know honestly, I kind of felt like I wasn't doing the greatest job with this. And this one has been like, you got this, girl. You've got this now. It's not like you can't learn. You can learn other techniques. You can watch other people. Absolutely 100%. But you got this. Absolutely 100%. You got this. So I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna go work on my soap caddies I need to go do before I go to bed. Grab a snack. And I right now I need this. It's not that I don't need my crochet, but I so need this because it truly is. There's just stuff going on, just things that are going on right now that I'm like, I just need to zone out for a while because it's helping me so much mentally, and I'm grateful for it. This was not put in my lap for any accident. There was a purpose and a reason for it. I do tremendously believe. So I love you all. I'll see you all maybe tomorrow. We'll see how this girl's feeling. And one other encouragement when you're doing this, don't try to be perfect. It's going to come out. There's going to be like I can see here, like right here. I'm like, oh, that's not perfect. It's not laying the spot. Don't try to be perfect. Looks good. Learn your technique, get it down, and just do well. And encourage each other. That's all we can do, right? So remember, be proud of being you because everyone else is taken. Keep crocheting that connection. No crochet hook is required. We have you covered. Thank you so much for having us covered. And we'll see you possibly tomorrow, possibly Friday. The thing is from 1 to 4 and it's going to be hot. So I guarantee you I'm going to come home and crash afterwards. And we'll see how I am on Saturday. But with that being said, we will continue with this and we'll continue making more. And I want to get to the point where I can put this one on the merch store next. Then I think the next one we're going to do is the cross. Then around the 23rd, we're going to do teacups because that is going to do that for Mama because it's her birthday on the 23rd of this month. And so we'll just keep working on them and doing more. So I love y'all. See y'all later. have a great night and stay safe and know how important you are truly all the blessing my blessed to crochet. Love y'all. Bye bye, everybody.